Ah, you bully.
Who was the first magician you saw live?
Saw live?
Because I'm assuming, kind of like us, you probably saw like Copperfield on TV before you.
I saw Simon Drake on TV. The first live I actually seen perform in front of me was probably Roy Walton.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's not a bad guy to see.
Definitely not, but he runs a store in Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I found out there was a store there, I was 11. And travelling to Glasgow from the little town I stay in.
Yeah, I was going to say Port
Glasgow is a different town. It's like 25 to 30 miles west.
Okay.
You have like a couple of towns in between. And I would have to travel by train to get to Glasgow. And I would just vanish at the age of 11 and just travel all the way up just to go into this magic store. Again, awesome. It's one of those things of just entering into like a little cave of wonder. It's
when
like
you
awesome.
first went there, did you realize how cool it was to have Roy Walton there? Or did you kind of...
I didn't know who he was. The weird thing is, I just knew him as Roy until I was like 15, 16. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing was, I bought his Complete Walton 1 and Complete Walton 2. I had the books.
I never realized it was...
I had read through, but because the picture on the back of this book was a younger guy...
Yeah, it does...
It didn't click in my head that he's matured up, basically. And it's the same guy. It didn't click until a few years later, and when it did, I was like, oh, damn.
That's pretty awesome. Was he kind of like one of your early inspirations, would you say?
Definitely. Especially with how I handle cards. I've oddly noticed, like, just even the way he toys with a deck. Mm-hmm. The thing I've noticed about most magicians is whoever they idolise, they will tend to mimic slightly. Even if it's not a full presentation, if it's just with the toy of the deck, they will toy with the deck.
Just like their touch with the
deck. Yeah. It's like I've got a good friend, I won't bring his name up, but he first got into magic because of David Blaine. And David Blaine's got a very particular way of toying with the deck, and he does it the exact same way. Mm. And then it dawned on me, I do it the exact same way as Roy. It's like, whoops.
Did Roy actually take on students, or?
No, it was just a case of going up and going into the shop and just staying there all day. Like this little 11-year-old.
Who would have been some of the other guys that like we might know, like Scottish magicians?
At the time, you had Peter Duffy would come in a lot. He was an awesome guy. Thankfully, Peter was one of the kind of guys that he wouldn't dismiss some of the younger guys, like a lot of the older generation do. Yeah. He would come up and say, no, here, try this. And he'd show you a better way to do things.
He
would actually help you out. Ian Kendall as well was awesome at it.
Cool.
But yeah, just general people.
Those aren't bad guys to have around.
Yeah, there's good guys to have on your side.
Yeah. If you have any questions about the half pass.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, my pass is terrible. I will admit. Here, who's got a deck nice and quick? Can I see that? The issue I've got, again, with most card magic is my hands are teeny, and I wasn't even lying before. Here, I cannot palm. I bleed every single side. Now, this isn't stacked in any way, no? Awesome. Right, so for a pass for me, doing a standard classic pass looks horrible. It looks big and bulky. So again, this is a Ian Kendall thing. He taught me about the whole rock in and rock out and all that stuff. I can't remember who he credited for that. That's terrible. I should remember that. But it was also his idea just to show the card and just keep your pink in, but be rough with it as it comes down and create a mess. So there's a logical reason for you to come in and clean everything up, and you just do the move as you're cleaning up, and it hides it a bit better. So
a lot of times they call that framing up. Like,
yeah.
You see somebody get their hand set.
And
ready.
So I mean.
Yeah, but it took you 30 seconds to get your hand set.
Yeah. So the nice thing about that is you're like, oh crap, sorry about that, and you just fix it.
That's definitely a great tip.
Thank you. It makes a lot of sense, especially for people with small hands.
Do you mind if we take that back real quick? Somebody, I don't even know if you can bust it up, but somebody asked about polter deck. Is that something you can do with?
Polter deck. Oh, from deck? Fingers of Fury. That is a borrowed deck.
And you don't necessarily have to bust it out. It was just a...
Yeah, dig in. Polter deck is basically you... Say stop.
Stop.
Awesome. Oh, dropping a bunch of cards. Doesn't matter. Here. Got it?
Got it.
You happy with that?
Yep.
You put it back in. You're going to bring your hand up, and it's that old move for you. And it should cut. This is a bit of a used deck, so it's cutting at the wrong point. I'm going to say there. What was your card?
Ace of clubs.
Oh, that's definitely the wrong card then.
It was off by one. Yeah. That's like Cat and Emperor style.
Was it off by one there? You seen it? Damn it. But you're basically buckling the deck and you dribble. This works awesome with a new deck. As they peek at that one, you bevel the deck the other way.
You're going the opposite way.
And it comes back down. And then once it's there, you just vibrate your hand, just shake your hand slightly, and it's going to cut at that point. And once you get a new deck, it just cuts open at the exact point you need. So in our case, just now it'll be there, right? At that point, I would bring the card up. Now, see, now the deck, it's not just like one goes down here, it makes it happen and pushes it, it's a bunch of them. And now this card is kind of like blacklisted, they don't like it anymore. So it doesn't matter if you lose that card like into the centre, I mean, even if you put your hand on top of the deck and try to keep it in there, the deck, they'll still shush it out and push it up to the top.
Gotcha.
And at that point, in fact here, if we even try and confuse them, and we lose the card all the way in, I mean, there's no way anyone could know where anything in here is. And at that point, usually they were sitting across from me, I would, as their hands come back down, just pop the card out. But it's just pop-out moves. So I mean, it's all moves that, again, were created by other people many, many moons ago.
And I don't know if this is a card effect, but somebody asked about No Way. They said it was from
Fingers of Fury.
Yeah.
That was...
or was that the NFW?
UNFW.
Gotcha. That was the name of that one.
Yeah, that was. They named it No Way. I can't even remember how that... Whose deck am I playing? Sorry. I can't even remember how the name came that way. It's kind of like the Little Things. I put out a DVD called The Little Things, and on all the sites for a good while it was Of the Little Things. I don't know where the Of came from, It was just there. Just random names of things.
It changes everything when you throw that Of on there.
I don't know, it's the little things for me. I'm influenced by films and music a lot. In fact, music more so than anything else. And The Little Things is a song by a band called Bush. They were...
yeah, I know Bush.
Yeah, they were basically the British version of Nirvana.
Sure.
In fact, they've recently just come out again. It's not the original lineup, but they're still good.
Sound of Winter, right?
Sound of Winter, yeah. But The Little Things was on Razorblade Romance? No, that's a hymn album.
16 Stone?
16 Stone's the one that was on, good man. So I mean, a lot of my trick names come from like songs and stuff. So
I think one of the things that a lot of people associate you with is smoke. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came about, how you created it?
Yeah, well, initially, I used to be a nurse. I used to work in a care home. And I worked a night shift. It was horrible. I was just the guy that sat there with these poor souls, and most people will die in their old age at night. So I was the idiot that had to sit and try and comfort them. But in the nursing home, there was a nebulizing unit. Now, in hospitals, you get a big one, a big massive thing that has a tube that goes off and it goes over your face, and it allows you to administer meds into your lungs, basically. Gotcha. So you're not having to force people that can't swallow it how to take pills and that kind of stuff. But they had this little teeny one. It's like a little pocket one.
Where can you get one of these?
That you can't. You have to have a license to buy one.
Oh man, I know a doctor. We'll work it out.
Mm-hmm. I'll hook you up later. I'm still certified. But yeah, it's just a little nebulizer and it had the big mask on it. So I acquired one, not from the home I was in. I was lucky I had trained and certified so I could go out and buy one. And the initial smoke was fucking horrible. Pardon the language, but it was terrible.
As far as what would actually...
What it would become, yeah. It was the nebulizing unit. Instead of having the mask here, I put a tube. And the tube come all the way up on the inside of a jacket and sat here. So during the routine, I would do a cold card thing. And it was like, you know the thing when you put a card in your head and you fan everything up and say, your card's not there, is it? And they can't see past. I would use that. So I started...
Just to get the hit?
Yeah, so I would say, oh, your card's not in there, is it? And I'll do that. So they're looking here, I go, and, done. Which is awful for everyone around me, I get that. But, I mean, it worked. And then I toyed about with trying to put this frigging thing elsewhere. And the nice thing was, because it was all electrical powered, I could hit the button and have it in my sleeve and have smoke come out here, but I couldn't control the smoke at all. There was no control in it. And yeah, it was that for a good bit. And once the nebulizing units get smaller and smaller, I could put it in different things. We got this really gorgeous little one, and it came in this nice little fold-out pack. I didn't know these existed until we had a guy that came in who was terribly asthmatic, and he used these a lot. And it was really thin, like stupidly thin, and it had the nozzle and it had the bit. And the other pocket one was still big enough that you had to keep your hand there. This one, you just put it on and you could let go. It's awesome. But it fitted into a notepad, and it also fit into a deck of cards. So I toyed about putting in a deck of cards and doing the load that way, and then on a notepad where they wrote something down, I just put it in there nice and quick. And then when e-cigs first came out, or these, yeah, what we use now, yeah, the same thing. In the UK, smoking is banned. I don't know what it's like over here. Smoking is banned indoors.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, you can't.
It differs from state to state, but most of the states.
Yeah, it was just a no-go. But most of these old people couldn't move a lot, or they couldn't go outside because it would be too cold and all that kind of stuff. So there used to be this rep that would